The long-running dispute within the Markle family has entered a new and potentially explosive phase. What once appeared to be a fading legal battle is now being revived through a fresh appeal strategy that could pull the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, back into an intense courtroom spotlight. At the center of this renewed conflict is her half-sister, Samantha Markle, who previously filed a defamation lawsuit tied to public statements made during high-profile media appearances. Earlier rulings dismissed those claims, leading many observers to assume the case had reached its end. But according to legal insiders, the story may be far from over. Samantha's legal team is reportedly pursuing an appeal that reframes the dispute in ways not previously considered by the courts. Rather than repeating earlier arguments, the new approach focuses on whether the Duchess's statements could be interpreted as factual claims rather than personal opinions. That distinction is crucial in defamation law. Opinions are generally protected speech, while false statements presented as fact can open the door to liability. The dispute traces back to widely viewed interviews and documentary content that explored Meghan's upbringing and relationships. One of the most prominent appearances was her conversation with Oprah Winfrey, which attracted global attention and sparked intense debate about the British royal family. Samantha has argued that certain remarks made during these appearances misrepresented their family history and damaged her reputation. Legal observers note that appeals courts do not simply retry cases. Instead, they examine whether errors were made in interpreting the law or handling evidence. Samantha's attorneys appear to believe such errors occurred, particularly regarding how the original court categorized the statements in question. Another factor complicating matters is the sheer scale of the audience reached by those interviews and subsequent productions. Statements made to millions of viewers can have far greater reputational impact than private remarks. Samantha's team is reportedly emphasizing this point, arguing that the global platform amplified any potential harm. The appeal may also introduce new evidence that was not part of the original proceedings. This could include communications, correspondence, or documentation intended to demonstrate the real-world consequences of the disputed statements. Courts sometimes allow additional material if it strengthens arguments about legal error or damages. Beyond legal technicalities, the case reflects the broader tension between personal storytelling and public accountability. High-profile figures often share intimate details of their lives as part of media projects, but when those narratives involve other people, especially private individuals, disputes can arise over accuracy and fairness. For Meghan, the timing is delicate. Since stepping back from official royal duties, she and her husband, Prince Harry, have been working to establish independent careers in media, philanthropy, and public speaking. Renewed litigation could distract from those efforts and revive controversies they have tried to move beyond. Supporters of the Duchess argue that she has a right to tell her own story, particularly given the intense scrutiny she faced during her time in the monarchy. Critics counter that public narratives should not come at the expense of relatives who lack comparable platforms to respond. Legal analysts say the outcome of the appeal will likely hinge on nuanced interpretations of intent. Did the statements merely express personal feelings, or did they assert specific facts about another person? Establishing intent is notoriously difficult, especially when statements are made in emotionally charged contexts. Another dimension involves the evolution of media itself. Traditional defamation cases often centered on newspapers or television broadcasts. Today, interviews are clipped, shared, translated, and circulated endlessly online, extending their reach and lifespan. Courts are increasingly grappling with how this digital amplification affects responsibility and damages. If the appeal proceeds, discovery could become a major battleground. Attorneys may seek documents, correspondence, or other records that shed light on how the media appearances were prepared and produced. Such processes can be invasive and time-consuming, which is why many high-profile cases settle before reaching trial. Meanwhile, public reaction remains deeply divided. Some view Samantha's legal push as an attempt to correct perceived injustices. Others see it as prolonging a painful family conflict for public consumption. Either way, the dispute underscores how personal disagreements can escalate when intertwined with celebrity and global media exposure. For now, the appeal represents uncertainty rather than resolution. It could be denied, effectively ending the case, or accepted, opening the door to a new round of legal arguments. The stakes extend beyond financial damages to questions of credibility, privacy, and the limits of public storytelling. In an era when personal narratives often double as commercial content, the outcome could carry implications far beyond one family. It may influence how future courts evaluate disputes involving memoirs, documentaries, and televised interviews. Ultimately, the situation illustrates a sobering reality. Even after stepping away from royal duties, Meghan Markle's life remains inseparable from public scrutiny. Whether the appeal succeeds or fails, the renewed attention ensures that the Markle family conflict will continue to shape perceptions of the Duchess for years to come. While the appeal itself is a legal matter, its ripple effects extend into media, business, and public perception. For Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the controversy arrives at a time when they are attempting to solidify their post-royal identity through entertainment projects and philanthropic initiatives. Major media partnerships, including the couple's work with Netflix, were built on the promise of compelling storytelling drawn from their unique experiences. However, renewed legal disputes risk overshadowing those projects and shifting the narrative back to family conflict rather than future ambitions. Industry insiders often note that entertainment companies value stability. Ongoing litigation can complicate production schedules, marketing campaigns, and brand alignment. Even when a case has no direct connection to a project's content, headlines alone can influence public reception. Another concern is the potential for additional scrutiny of past statements. Appeals frequently involve detailed re-examinations of transcripts, footage, and public records. Analysts say this process can revive controversies that had largely faded from public memory, effectively restarting media cycles. Public relations experts emphasize that perception can matter as much as legal outcomes. A prolonged courtroom battle may reinforce narratives of discord, regardless of who ultimately prevails. For public figures whose influence depends on goodwill and relatability, sustained negative coverage can erode support over time. The situation also places the British monarchy in an awkward position. Although Meghan and Harry are no longer working royals, their titles and history keep them linked to the institution. Renewed headlines about family disputes inevitably draw attention back to Buckingham Palace, complicating efforts to present a forward-looking image under King Charles III. From a legal standpoint, appeals can take months or even years to resolve. During that time, both sides must prepare for multiple scenarios, from dismissal to full retrial. This uncertainty can make strategic planning difficult, particularly for individuals with public careers that rely on long-term projects. Observers also point to the emotional toll of extended litigation. Family disputes are inherently personal, and when conducted in public, they can intensify stress for everyone involved. Mental health professionals often highlight how public exposure magnifies the strain of private conflict. Financial considerations are another factor. High-profile legal teams, expert witnesses, and court proceedings can be extremely costly. Even a victorious outcome may come at significant expense, both financially and reputationally. Despite these challenges, appeals are sometimes pursued because the parties involved believe strongly in their positions. For Samantha Markle, the effort may represent a quest for vindication as much as compensation. For Meghan, defending against the claims may be seen as essential to protecting her credibility and legacy. Legal scholars note that the case touches on broader questions about free speech, privacy, and accountability in the age of mass media. When personal experiences are shared publicly, especially through commercial platforms, determining where storytelling ends and defamation begins can be complex. The outcome could influence future disputes involving memoirs, documentaries, and celebrity interviews. Courts may look to cases like this when defining how much responsibility public figures bear for statements about private individuals. Meanwhile, supporters on both sides continue to debate the issue online, reflecting the polarization that has characterized reactions to the Sussexes since their departure from royal life. Social media ensures that the conversation extends far beyond the courtroom, shaping public opinion in real time. Looking ahead, several scenarios are possible. The appeals court could uphold the dismissal, effectively closing the case. It could order further proceedings, leading to renewed discovery and potentially a trial. Or the parties could reach a settlement, bringing the dispute to a quieter conclusion. Whatever happens, the controversy highlights the enduring power of narrative. Stories, especially those involving family, fame, and perceived injustice, can resonate long after the events themselves. For Meghan Markle, the challenge remains balancing personal expression with the responsibilities that come with a global platform. As the legal process unfolds, one thing is certain: the Markle family saga is not just a private matter. It has become a public drama reflecting broader tensions between celebrity, media, and the law. And until the courts deliver a final decision, uncertainty will continue to dominate the narrative.